Okay, guys, I've had the absolute pleasure to be interviewing today Dustin Runyon. If you don't know Dustin, man, this guy is kicking ass in everything. And I'm going to ask him a whole bunch of things, but kind of spoiler alert, and you're going to have to wait till the end. We're going to talk about what we really do around the where do homes come from, the new construction, land development stuff. I'm going to be hitting on him about that later. But dude, you are dropping a ton of fire on whether I'm on your email list, I'm on your social, and I just see shit every single day that is blowing my mind. And I love you're part of the Chet Black organization as
Right.
well. And so I see all that and I can see where that's coming from. And so tell the listeners who don't know you a little bit about your background, and let's start there.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. First of all, Jason, I appreciate it. I'm always honored when anybody asks me to get on something like this and wants to hear what I got going on. So I'm humbled by it. So thank you very much. Um, I started in real estate in 2008 in Phoenix. And I got into real estate because I was not very good in school. And I'm like, I was paying to go to a community college and just wasn't my thing. So I got into real estate. So I got in and I started as a short sale negotiator for a gal. And I didn't know what a short sale was. They should have called them long sales.
All right? Yeah, yeah. There's no such thing back then. Yeah.
Yeah, because they took forever. I mean, we'd have short sales that were a year and 9 months to make 3 grand. So I didn't know it at the time, but it was a blessing to get in at that time because it was difficult. And so we got our leads through door knocking and through cold calling. We get 30, 60, 90-day lates. And we from the title company and we'd call and we closed about 250 short sales in about 4 years. And then from there, I went and ran a brokerage. I was a technology director and then ended up being a team leader at a Keller Williams. And we grew that from about 36 agents to 200. We had about 3 locations. We had a real estate school, property management company, and I didn't have any ownership in it. So um, about 6 years ago, I started my real estate team along with a development company. And this year we'll do about 700 transactions, about 250 million in sales. And we've got about 1,200 acres under development right now, and we do residential development. We also have a building company, um, and I coach. I've been coaching for about 10 years now too, and I've aligned with the Chet Black organization and partnered with those guys. And John, he's just an outstanding human being, and we align, see eye to eye on how things should be ran and operated in our personal lives and in our business life. So that's what I'm doing now today. And so, yeah, man.
I no, I love it, man. I so will you talk a little bit about the structure of your team and it's 30 plus agents and guys for the most part let's talk about where you're at. You're in Lake Havasu,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Which is a fairly small marketplace. I mean 60, 70,000 people, right?
Yep. You got it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so talk about
Where are you at? Where are you at right now?
yeah, I'm up in Oregon, and so I'm based out of Albany, so an hour south of
Oh,
Portland.
oh, cool.
So
Very
so
cool.
yeah, and so our city is right at 60,000. So I can appreciate what that is. I've
Yeah.
been through Havasu and have buddies who actually live there and hang out there, use the lake, and again, we get into some of the house designs, and there's a reason the houses are designed with all these badass RV garages because there's so
Mhm.
much to do down there. But
Mhm.
talk about the structure of your team and how you're killing it with 700 transactions in a small marketplace.
Yeah. So when I was the team leader over at Keller Williams, we had so as a way for me to leverage my recruiting, I was very big on teams. So I really pushed the team model a lot because I knew if I could get the team leaders to recruit to their teams, it was leverage for me as the team leader of the brokerage. So we ended up at the end, we had the most amount of teams in our region. We were in the Southwest region for Keller Williams, and we had the most amount of teams out of any other market center. And so I got to see what worked and didn't work. Like I had a laboratory.
Yeah,
Like
that
I
was
could
your
have
own
been,
lab, right? Okay, yeah.
yeah, I could have been dumb stupid and I am pretty dumb, but I could have been, I could have been an idiot and not seen patterns. Patterns that work, patterns that didn't work, people that led with ego, people that led with abundance, people that led with fear, people that led with love, people that led with gadgets, people that led with work ethic, so I got to see all these different things. And I got to see all the P&Ls. And
Sure.
that was one thing that was shocking
Yeah, you
was
definitely
how,
got to see behind the scenes what did not work.
yeah. So the structure of our team is we're based off of really four things. We do open houses, level 10 open houses. We do door knocking. We do circle prospecting, and then social media. Those are our four big levers. We currently have a director of operations, a transactional coordinator, a marketing administrator, and we have a VA, as well as we have about 35 to 40 agents,
So
give or
just
take the
just
day.
for clarity and want to you do, some other, if you watch any guys and you watch any of Dustin's other podcasts where these guests on or whatever it may be, but if you listen to those four pillars of business, those don't cost him anything, right?
Mm,
Zero lead spend. He's not out doing PPC leads. And maybe some of your agents do that or whatever, but that's not the core of what your business is and what you're talking about.
yeah. No, it's not, because what I saw is weak leadership would try to buy retention through gadgets and leads and whatever. And it's a bad value construct. Like, I won't hire anybody into our organization that values money. I need you to value the things that attract money, like conscientiousness, industriousness, integrity, personal development, personal responsibility. Those are the things that I want you to value. And if you value those things and you live in alignment with your values, money's going to come. But if you only value money and you only value leads, it just creates a toxic culture. Like, you're gonna have people cheating and gossiping and stepping over each other just to get the buck. And that's what I was able to see in those other organizations. So I really want to attract work ethic. And then it's like, what's the value of being on your team? Is, well, I'm living out our values in our organization at the most potent level. And and our environment and our culture. Um, and we focus on the whole human. So we're a personal development company that just happens to sell real estate.
I love it. One of
Yeah.
the you talk about accountability. One of the accountability pieces that you use and you've shared, and I could not find the direct link, but I'm just going to share the screen real quick,
Yeah.
is this right here. Talk about this document that I downloaded, and eventually, guys, in the notes later on, I will find the link, and or Dustin, if you have it handy, drop it in the chat, that
Yeah.
people can go and download this. But talk about what this document is and how this has helped you from an accountability standpoint. And how I'm hearing it and seeing it is not just accountability, but it's helping your agents be accountable to themselves and raise themselves up with this little document.
Yeah. So another thing that I saw is, I just put it in the chat there for you. Another thing that I saw was, in these teams, in these organizations, was technology made people lazy. So too much leverage on technology, people just didn't do it. Like, my buddy had built out this whole tech background, this intranet, this everything, like input your data, input everything that, all this, input your connections, input your calls, input your appointments, input where they're from. And no one did it. And like, and this is where, a lot of team leaders disagree with me. I really don't care. I don't really care. Like, I just don't care about a lot of things. Like, I care about very few things, and I care about those few things a lot. And one of them is just your connects. Like, I don't care how many calls you're making. I really don't. I don't need to track that. I already know, if you make, it's 10% conversion rate inside of our pond. It's in our mojo. If you make 200 calls, you're going to get 20 connects. But when we first started the team, it was 10 connects, because we started in 2019 or 2018, and it was 20 connects, or 10 connects, excuse me. Our passwords were 10 connects. Everything was 10 connects. It was on the wall, 10 connects. Like, everybody's password for all their emails was 10 connects. I mean, it was just like, that's all I talked about. because we're the chief reminding officers, right? If you haven't said it 900 times, you haven't said it once. I still have to remind my team that we have training on Mondays and Tuesdays at 1. And we've had it Mondays and Tuesdays at 1 for 6 years.
And even though it's in the
So,
calendar, it's still
yep,
it's still going to be reminded.
every single day. So, or week. So the 10 connects, and the connect is defined by a 2-minute conversation with somebody about real estate. This will change basically any business's life. I would give this to the CEO of any company. I would give this to the CEO of Coldwell Banker or Remax or wherever. 20 connects a day with your top 20%.
Yeah.
Over the phone or on video every day. So now we do 20 connects because after 2021, the market had shifted. And there's only two things that happen when the market shifts. There's only two changes that an agent makes: how much activities, the amount of activities that it takes, and what you say. That's it. And how often you have to say it. So like those are the when people are like, oh my gosh, the market's shifting. It's like, okay, that nothing changes for you except we're going to go from 10 connects to 20.
Have more conversations.
We're just going to have more conversations. We're going to surrender to that right now. And
Okay.
we're going to get in front of it. Second is what you say. So we got to stop pretending like we don't know we're going to get objections. Like we need to handle the objections before people even bring them up. And
Absolutely.
so what are the objections? Interest rates, cool. Tariffs, cool. All of those things, like we already know that's going to happen. So these 20 connects is a 2-minute conversation with someone in person or over the phone about real estate. This is also how I raise capital for a development company. I use this sheet for myself. This is also how we recruit agents onto our team. Our director of growth uses this sheet for this is my buddies, all my buddies who own development companies, all of the side of their company where they raise capital, they use these sheets.
You're basically you're anybody doing outbound sales, which is what you got to do, right? You got to be making phone calls, talking to people. You use this sheet simply to track getting your 20 done,
There
right?
isn't a life, there isn't a I would be if there's anybody that's in business right now and you take this sheet and for 6 months you hit 20 connects, whether you're a recruiter, whether you raise capital, whether you are an agent, whether you are CEO of a company, whether no matter what it is, you know who you need to be reaching out to daily. And if you get in a habit of reaching out people daily, you get in front of things. And do this for 6 months. And if it doesn't change your business, call me.
I love it. Dude, and we say that as leaders, as even agents, right? Everybody knows it. Have conversations every day. It doesn't matter what system you're plugged into. They will say have 10 conversations a day at a minimum to hit your 50 a week, right? You're saying, look, hit 100 and let's really rock it. But that's also what this, like you said, what the market demands now is having those lots more conversation. It demands that everybody ramps up and does more with their business than what they used to.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, guys, again, it's in the chat. Use that link. We'll get you there. I want to hit on a couple other things. You are doing a event coming up that I want to talk about in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
Scottsdale,
Yeah.
technically. Let's talk about this of what you put together here, and maybe talk a little bit. Let's start back up because I did not. All full disclosure, I did not get to watch every single video of your Havasu event yet, but I
Yeah.
did watch a couple, and this is from off of that. I'm assuming go, man, people love this shit, and it's like, okay, we're gonna do this down in Phoenix where it may be a little more accessible for people to get to, whatever it
Yeah.
may be. So talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny. I was like a year or two ago, my buddy Tyler Blair, who I know through Kevin Kaufman. Tyler is an agent out in Chandler. He's got a savage team. He's got 100 agents on his team. He does like 900 deals. He'll do 900 deals this year. Um, he's in there. I spoke at his event, and his event was called Elevate. And so we were going to throw an event in our small town, and I had my team, throw the event and work on it, and they named it Elevate. And I just didn't even put two and two together. So he throws an event in Chandler called Elevate. We throw one here called Elevate. Well, Tyler coaches with Sunit. which is a Cheplack coach, and Tyler's now a Cheplack coach as well. So talking with Tyler, I'm like, dude, we got to do something in Phoenix. And what do you want to call it? He's like, well, let's just combine it, call it Elevate. And so we had 220 people down here in Havasu, like half of them came from it's a 3.5, it's a 3 hour drive to Phoenix. So I was born in Phoenix. We're gonna have it in Phoenix. We've got Jamie Tulak from Girls with Grit. She is outstanding. If you don't know Girls with Grit, they're outstanding. We got Justin Nelson. He is the CEO of Sphere Rocket, the VA company. We've got Alec and Shannon Cheplack, which Alec is my marketing coach. So Alec is a wizard when it comes to marketing, and Shannon is health and fitness coach, which is that whole human, right, that we focus on. Denise Donahue, she is the financial nerd. That is self-proclaimed financial nerd. Joshua Smith, he sold over 7,000 homes. He is one of my dude. He's just one of my favorite people. He's one of the most disciplined humans on earth. He he has got GSD Mode, which is one of the largest real estate podcasts on the planet. Um, and then we've got John Cheplack. John Cheplack is probably the number one real estate coach on the planet right now. Guy is just a savage. And if you haven't heard him speak, he charges $2,000 for a 20-minute coaching session, and he'll be there for $20. So, and we're going to give you lunch too. So our goal is not to make any money on this; is to come from pure contribution and give you the best. Everyone on here is proven. None of it's theory.
Absolutely.
So these aren't ideas. These are people that are actually in the trenches doing it every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I love this, and dude, this is gonna be killer. So guys, if you have the opportunity, so May 15th, right? Coming up
Yep.
in literally 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks.
It's an easy look. If you're coming from out of state, I'm coming from Oregon, and I was able to find my flights. I got stuff that I have to do the next day, so I can't hang out. So I'm flying in early that morning, and I got a red eye coming back, and it is what it is. That's just what you do. But it's just the way to do it. So guys, there's no reason to not get there. You don't even have to spend money on a hotel. So because it's a 1 day gig in and out.
Yeah, I promise you that it's not worth it. I will refund your flight, your ticket, and any expenses that you adhere. And you just call me afterwards and let me know if it was not worth it and you didn't get anything out of it. Call me, I'll refund everything for you.
And you will get zero calls. Dude, I want to hit on something else. Guys, I just want to, I know, I promise this is not a marketing pitch because, Dustin and this is the first time we've had a conversation, but I'll tell you, like I mentioned before, I follow his stuff and his shit works. And he's just providing tons and tons of value. And all this stuff that I'm showing you, besides that $20 class, is free. So this is just stuff to go do. And I'm going to make sure again that all of these links are in the chat here in a minute. But this is
I would have made the event free, but what happens when you do free events is it's very hard to gauge how many people will actually show up.
sure.
So it's hard to do the food. So we made it $20. So there was like a little skin in the game. So we could better gauge how many people are going to show up.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not even about it being free. I guess the point is that there's no sales pitch here. And this is just you're learning stuff. And if you decide to plug into any of those people that are going to be on stage of what it is they're doing, then great. That's just what the same thing what we're trying to do with teaching you how to be a better agent, first of all. And then second, we're going to show you here in a little bit about how and what we do at our stuff is show people how to work with home builders, how to be developers, how to partner all that stuff together, have more listings. But talk about this scenario right here. This is this team framework. If there's got people listening that want to learn how to build their team better, and dude, this is something I will tell you personally, I'm going to be digging into. I downloaded this
Yeah.
a couple days ago, and there's just a lot here. So talk a little bit about what this is with this framework. And here's the download, but you guys, you can't have mine. You got to go get his. But what are just some of the pieces to this?
Yeah. It is just like the exact, like I was like, what do I wish I had if I were to start over? Like if I was good to start over. Because here's the thing, if you want to build a big organ, if you want to sell 100 to 150 homes, there's a million ways to do that. There's really though, if you want to build a team that's doing over 400 or 500 deals a year, There's like three ways. Like that's why when I get on a coaching call with someone, they're like, "Well, I think I'm going to do this." I'm like, "What makes you think you're what, like? Where are you getting that information?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, where do those thoughts and opinions come from?" Because thousands of people have tried building teams specific ways, and really, there's only about three of them. And so, this one is this is just the exactly what I would do if I started over. Like, and it's exactly what I do every single day today. So it goes through your daily schedule, it goes through operations, it goes through leadership, it goes through your environmental model, it goes through your cultural model, it goes through your sales model, your sales levers, it goes through your scripting, it goes through everything. And it's completely free. So I just built the thing that I say, okay, what did I need at the beginning? Like what would what would I have needed? And so that was this document. So download it for free, follow it. Like I said, if you follow, this one is one of those things when you're building a team, you got to follow this for 12 to 18 months. But yeah.
When I saw a podcast that you did with Nick, and you talked about how so many people want to um, start a team, yet they want to do less work. Isn't that how that goes? Isn't that what's supposed to happen?
Here's here's what happens. And by the way, I was disillusioned by this too, which was the higher you go in business, people think that the more and the higher you go in business, the less responsibilities you have.
Yeah.
And the truth is if you want to grow financially and you want to grow your business, you have to take on more responsibility. Like we'll get into the development stuff, but like it's like in order for me to grow consistently, like the quality of my life is a direct reflection of how much responsibility I can take on.
How do you take on, so from that perspective, I'm assuming if you want, like, someone's like, I'm here and I want a 20-person team tomorrow, I'm cool with taking on
Mhm.
the responsibility, but going from 0 to 20 or even 0 to 5 is a shit ton of responsibility already. The minute you put one person on, your responsibility goes up. How do you, how does somebody take that on and go, man, I don't know if I can handle that responsibility? How do you level that up?
Well, you have to have emotional tenacity. Like you have to have psychological strength. Like emotional fitness is everything. Like all discipline is like most people self-sabotage and self-sabotage is just the inability to regulate emotions. And so the higher you go, like the elite people we get to work with and in our community, they're very good at regulating emotion. Um, and so that's why I was like say is like when it comes to the controllables in your life, like working out, like eating well, like doing the things, go do something hard voluntarily every day. And that is how you build emotional fitness, psychological strength. Um, Second is number one, it's easier to hire 10 agents at a time than it is to hire them one at a time because you can train them in groups. That's a big myth that like, I just want to go slow. It's like you hire all 20, get them all in right now. Now you have a group of people to train and then they help each other and there's leverage in that. And so, but um, I think I always ask people this, Jason, is like, why do you want to start a team? And if it isn't because you want to lead and you want to help people and you really want to make an impact on people's lives, um, and so you can do more of what your core competency is. Um, I just rarely see it working out. Like if it's like because you want more vacations and you want more time, like, and I know guys that do that. They build these big teams and then they go kick it on vacation all the time and post it all online. Their teams fall apart.
Sure.
Like you're the most potent, you're the most venomous part of your culture. And so if you want people to work at a level 8, you better be working at a level 20. Like I got a guy on my team, he netted $1 million last year. He closed 200 transactions. Like I have to outwork that guy.
Will you say
I've
that
got to
again?
create,
Will you say that again? You have a
he
guy,
netted,
You have a guy
Cody
on
is
your
it?
team that did
Cody
how many
Weitzel.
transactions
He did 200 last year.
and he netted
He $985,000.
$1 million
Yeah.
on a team. But if I'm on a team, I'm giving all my money away. I can't make any money. How does
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
all work? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's I coached with him this morning. He's but if I'm not working at a level 20, he's not staying in my organization. Like, who do you have to be as a leader in order to attract people? I had four guests at our team meeting this morning. All four of them netted over $150,000 last year, salaried in their positions, and they're joining our team. They're leaving a $150,000 a year job to join our team. Who do you have to be as a leader in order to attract those types of
Attract
people?
that kind of people. That's what Cody
And
did.
so
Correct? Is that was that his story? Give a
he
two
was the
minutes on Cody.
he was the general manager at an Albertsons, so it's a grocery store here in Lake Havasu.
Yep.
He started in Phoenix at the grocery store, and he worked his way up. I believe he worked in I want to say he was there for like 8 years. He was making about $135,000 a year over there. And my wife met him at our gym and at the CrossFit gym. And so I met him through another friend and he came on board and he did like 65 deals his first full year. And then he did 200 his first full year the next year. But we can get in that too. Like you talk about partnering with developers and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100 of those deals were with developers.
Love that. I love that.
100 of them were homes.
I want to shift to that a little bit as well. So I was on your website this morning and um I went the wrong spot and I was trying to get to see your new construction stuff, and like any good website, it has a information wall, right? Give me your email and your phone number, and then you can get your information, right? So I filled that
Yeah.
out so I could get through because I was trying to get the information. I was trying to get to your Apex site. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
I went through, hit it, and not 5 minutes later, I see on my phone Cody. He calls me, and I saw the name, so I knew who it was. And I'm like, dude, hey, I apologize. I went through because I was trying to get to this, and I said I'm connected with Dustin here in an hour and a half. I'm just trying to do my extra little things. And, oh, great, no problem. And he said, what do you need? Right? He was immediately went to help mode. What do you need? Did you find what you needed? On and on. So, dude, just kudos to him. Again, I know you've honored him in a lot of your different stuff and what he's doing, but it's just
Yeah.
he's definitely doing the same things that you're teaching. So I love it. But let's
Yeah.
just
He's a good guy.
talk about the new construction and land development side. When did you start that? And kind of tell that little bit of a story.
Yeah, we started that, me and my partner, Andrew Oxley. Andrew, so I have another gal on my team. Her name's Jenna, and she's our luxury agent. She represents all of our luxury subdivisions as well as sells all the higher end stuff here in town. She's been with me since the beginning. And it's her cousin. Her cousin is Andrew Oxley of Oxley Construction. And Andrew was running a dirt crew, so an excavation crew, and he would do underground and mass grading. So he's graded like majority of a lot of the land here in Lake Havasu. Um, and prior to that, he would help build houses with us. And then prior to that, he was laying pavers, when he was 20,
Yeah.
18, 20. So what happened was I was like selling, I'll tell you the real story. So like I was doing like consulting for a development company with regards to sales, marketing, and leadership. And Andrew was doing all of the mass grading for all these developers in town.
Yep.
And I get out of this meeting. I've been doing it for about a year with a group of guys. And I asked my buddy, my partner at the time, my director of operations, we walk out. I'm like, what have you taken away from all these board meetings? Like we were meeting with banks and showing them numbers and data on the marketing. We were meeting with the CEO of the development company. We were meeting with the CFO. We're meeting with everybody. And I was teaching them, marketing and sales and marketing and adjusting funnels for them, different things of that nature. And he goes with the developers. I'm like, what's your biggest takeaway? He goes, it's all balls. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's not complex. Like it doesn't take a whole lot of brains.
Yeah.
It just takes balls. Like they're just willing to risk. They're willing to go big. And I was like, gosh, that's so true. Weird. A week later, Andrew calls me, Oxley, and we've known each other from high school and stuff, but we weren't super tight. Calls me, he's like, hey man, you want to meet up? And I'm like, sure. No clue what the call's about. He's like, dude, we need to do a development. He goes, I'm working for all these guys, and like, dude, it ain't that complex sort of thing. And so we got together, and our first deal was like a 4 lot subdivision, a micro community with a gated community, 1 acre parcels. Our second one was 52 acres. We did luxury subdivision, 25 and 25, both gated. The next one was about 300 and no, the next one was 180 acres. That was Trinity, another luxury subdivision. We're launching that one here soon. The next one was 330 acres, was our affordable. And then we just bought one from the state auction last week for 626 acres. And then we're going after another one that's a full section of 640 acres. So started
Dude,
out,
that's section.
he,
Guys, you hear
what?
that? That's a section. They're not fucking around with 2 acres anymore. They are doing
Yeah,
a section, right? We learned that in real estate school, what a section is. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Yeah,
That,
there's a really good book like 2x is easier than or 10x is easier than 2x.
yeah.
It's a great book. Another good book is like How Developers Think. That's just a great book. It's a boring fuck. It's not great. Okay, so don't. It's a boring book, but it's a good read.
Yeah.
If you're a developer, if you're not a developer, you'd be bored to death.
Yeah,
Um,
if you don't nerd out on this side of it, then you're gonna go,
yeah,
what is this? Right?
yeah. This
Yeah.
is awful. Um, But I realized, and I would tell you this today, like developing land is easier than a flip. Like and what we had to learn early on, I don't know where you want to go with this, but
Yeah. Go.
um, what I had to learn early on is like, and I tell this story because our first deal was 850,000. That's what we needed. That was like on the pro forma. That was lot price. That was grading price. That was all the stuff, right?
Yep.
And I called my buddy. I made the deck. I made a pro forma. We put together. I learned how to structure the deal through an attorney that I had gotten from another developer who I was representing at the time. So we had a pro forma, we had our memorandum, we had a subscription agreement, operating agreement, which are basically the main 3 things that you need for your LLC. And I made one call. I said, he's like, how much you need? I'm like, 850,000. He's like, what's the exit? I'm like, around 1.3 to 1.4. And it's a 50-50 split. We play an 8 pref. And he's like, I'll take the whole thing. That was my first call in my first experience fundraising capital, raising capital. I'm like, this is easy. So we do the next development. So we're working on that one. So we like find this other piece of land. It's in this luxury subdivision, 3.5 million. It's 52 acres, and the pro forma with horizontal infrastructure, with grading and paving and curbs and everything and gate. It was going to be about 7.2 million.
So you're 7-2 all in on 52 lots or 50 lots roughly.
Yep, about 160,000 a lot. Yeah. Um, and so after 60 days, so we put it in escrow, and obviously the money's not hard. After the due diligence period was 60 days, and after 60 days, it goes hard.
Yep.
We had like 50,000 in, I think, or 100,000, 50,000, I think it was. I think it was 100,000, but they wanted 50,000 hard. Guess how much I had raised after 60 days? Zero.
Zero.
Zero. And so we let we let it go out of escrow. And Andrew, my partner through the grapevines, hears that another developer is looking at it. And Andrew calls me, he goes, put it back in escrow. I'm like, dude, they want $25,000 hard for 2 more weeks. And to get 4 more weeks, they want 50,000 hard. He goes, put it into escrow. I'm like, and I'm the one making the calls, right?
Yeah,
And
who's
Andrew
bringing
is
that
too.
50? Who's bringing that 50K, right?
Yeah. So we put it in hard and we had to sit down. And I said, guys, I realized this quickly. What business are you in? Development. What business are you really in? Fundraising.
Capital. Yep.
If we can be a fundraising company, we're a fundraising company,
Yep.
then we just do our jobs.
Yes.
Grading's easy for him. Infrastructure's easy for him. Planning, easy. Like me, sales and marketing, I can do it in my sleep. I mean, it's just like it's just what we do,
Right.
And that's not arrogance. It's just like it's our core competency, right? And so we went all in. And there's this guy, his name's Mark Lindsay, who's now my business partner and one of my best friends. I'm actually going to his house right. I'm at the airport right now, so I'm going to shoot this, and I'm flying up to his house right now. Um, I called him like 47 times. It was exactly 47 times. So I pulled up his number on the sheet. And he texted me one day, "Hey buddy, I got his number through Andrew's dad had built a house for him like 10 years prior, 15 years prior actually." And in Lake Havasu, he lives in Vegas and he runs this big annuity company. And he's as of last year, he's a billionaire now.
Guys,
Um,
by the way, I'm going to insert that right now, and we'll have to go back. That he spoke at your event in Havasu. That was one of the recordings I got to watch. So
yeah,
it's on. If you're not following Dustin on social, it's on there. Go find it somewhere, wherever the heck it is. But anyways, that was when you said that again, technically with a B, that this is what this guy is, and you watch him on stage, it is so awesome to see that the amount of ego that's with that guy is nothing compared to what you might see or somebody uppity. He's just a real dude, tells you how it is, and his story was freaking phenomenal. But anyways, go ahead.
yeah, and we have quite the relationship. Me and him, we're like brothers. We mess with each other a lot. Yeah. So anyway, so I show up to his house and I pull into his house, and my license plate and my photo of my face is on a 50-inch flat screen TV. When I pull into the gate, and I pull into another gate, they let me in, and it's this 30,000 square foot mansion. It's the most expensive house in Vegas. And I'm like, shit. So he takes me around. We come out. He's got a car elevator in his house that pulls into his bedroom, and I take him around this whole house. And you feel like you're in a movie. You're like, what is my life right now? This is
Right.
insane. Like I've never been in a house like this. This is like this is more beautiful than five-star resorts. It's like got an elevator in it. It's got a car elevator. He's got a spa that looks over his balcony of his bedroom that has the view of the strip in Vegas. And anyways, 4 hours at his house, we connected. We really connected. Felt like we knew each other forever. And he goes, "All right, I'm going to do the deal." I'm like, "All right, how much?" He goes, 2.5 million. And I'm like, "I need 3.5 million to close on the freaking land."
Yeah.
I'm like, that ain't going to work. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "I came in here with a goal of getting 3.5 million. Instead of 50-50 split on profit, let's do 60-40 and throw me 3.5." And he looks at me, he goes, "Deal." Shakes my hand. I said, "One more thing." He goes, "What's that?" I go, "You got to let me drive that Lamborghini." And so I drive the Lamborghini. And now today, dude, I only go on like 2 vacations in a year, and they're both with him and his family. And we're going on a cruise this November. And he's just become one of my best friends, and he's become a mentor of mine. And I've learned a lot from him. But
So
that deal,
talk to me about, so you got the 3.5, and then you still needed another 3.5 plus or minus to finish the development, right? You got the land now. Now you
yeah.
need another 3.5. So what did you do?
So here's the thing with development. You need to build your resume. Like this is what a lot of people are going to ask you when you go to raise capital. How much are you putting in yourself? Number one. And two, how much do you have?
Hmm.
And so getting that first seed money is like really important. And they're going to ask you, what developments have you done?
Yep.
So, so after that, we were able to go tell people we had 3.5 million. And so we were talking with a few other investors and we called them back and we're like, hey, we have 3.5 million. We're just looking for another, 3.8. So a guy gave us 1 million. And then I on that one, I raised 100,000 at a time, which I do not recommend doing. But if you have to do it on your first one, do it. Um, and then Mark called me back like 2 weeks later and wanted to give me another 880 that he was pulling out of another deal. So Mark was about
Four.
60%.
Yeah.
He was
Four, five, four and a half million.
4.38. He was like
Yeah.
60% of the development, which you want to be careful with too, by the way.
Yeah.
So a lot of things in here, right? You want to be careful giving an investor too much part of that. If they're over 20%, they got to sign for the accounts. So, um, and then 100,000 at a time. But we did that deal. It was already entitled land. So we did that deal. We returned 100% of principal back in under 12 months.
Awesome.
And if you want investors to come back, return them capital, communicate with them on the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Like use an intranet system that has a username and password that they can log in. They have their K1, they have the communication, they have all their docs, they have everything in there. Um, and yeah, it was we did that one, and that one kind of put us on the map.
That's awesome. You sold, so you sold all those lots to other builders, right? At that point.
Yeah, so then that
So
was another thing.
so yeah, so you do that. So again, right? You're building up. You did your 4 lot deal. You sold it, got more money, right? And as they say, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. If you tried to do it all yourself in the very beginning, you wouldn't have got to where you're at. So these first ones, as I heard you say, you sold them off. You gained capital. You did this one. You sold it off. You got more capital. And then the next one, you're like, we need to build more of this stuff, not just sell lots, right?
Yeah.
Is that where that went? So is that what you're doing? So next,
So
is that in Trinity now?
so Andrew never wanted to build houses because if you've ever built houses before and you've worked with the public, building custom homes is not fun.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's not fun because you're dealing with the buyer's emotions and you're dealing with all that. Like we can build a 3,000 square foot house with 5,000 square feet of garage with pool spa on a quarter acre lot. We can build that in like 10 months.
Hmm.
If we were to build that for that home with custom, they were able to pick the colors, everything, the floor plan, the whole. It'd take like 3 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah. All the choices. So the custom side. So basically you're building basically a spec, if you will.
We're building specs now. So Andrew had PTSD from building for buyers, so he never wanted to do it. But when we were selling the lots to Trent in Ladera, which was the 52 acre parcel, 52 acres, 50 parcels, builders were building on them, and they were making 400,000 or 500,000 a pop.
Mhm.
So they were making. I mean, we did well. We were 7.2 million, and we exited at like 21 million. So, man, our investors were
And talk
pumped.
investors were pumped, and you had some killer capital at that point for yourself to now
Yeah.
pivot to your next piece.
You got it.
That's what I
So
was,
I'm like, we need to freaking build houses.
yeah.
We need to become the exclusive builder on these lots. With our agents, we need to become the exclusive builder and we need to start building houses.
Yep.
And we want to follow this. Toll Brothers has a great model of like semi-customs. Like we go to Scottsdale, we walk in, and I'm like, wow, this is a beautiful house. You're like, this is a custom house because where we're from, it's a bunch of like mom and pop builders in like Havasu, and like I would say like 90% of the houses were like custom. Like they just let the buyer kind of pick. There wasn't any systems or processes to it. It was kind of a trouble. It wasn't the greatest experience, working with the mom and pop builders. So we're walking into a $4 million house, and Toll Brothers was like, it's semi-custom. We're like, what does that mean? They're like, you pick A, B, C, or D, then you pick A, B, C, or D, then you pick A, B, C, or D.
Yep.
Well, what if I want to do this? They're like, 25% change order, or no, you can't.
Yeah.
So that was new to us. And so that's kind of the model that we followed.
Yeah.
Um, and the one that we're doing today. So we have about 27 homes going right now. We have commercial project going as well. We have, Yeah, we're going to be launching in the summer on our affordable housing where we're going to start about 42 homes out there. So
Is
our
that
goal
called?
next year is
Sorry,
what?
go ahead.
That one's called DL Ranch.
That's the DL Ranch, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. And that when you call it affordable, what does that look like for price point?
Anywhere from 250 to like 389 for us here.
Attached product, like townhome type things, or all detached?
All detached. Yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. And then talk about, and I know you're going to have to run and we're coming up on the hour, but I want to talk about the last one. So recently you sent a post, look, I holding your auction palette and said, I
Yeah.
went to the state of Arizona auction, which is very rare. You know, they don't do that in a lot of states, but I know Arizona's a big one. Talk about that project and what is that going to look like?
Yeah. So there was 90 acres over on the island. There's an island. We're off on in Lake Havasu City. We're alongside the Colorado River, so it's where the Colorado River kind of gets fat. So
Yep.
it bows out. So it looks like a lake. It's actually a river, but it's a lake because it's dual dammed. There's a dam in Parker, and then there's a dam up by past Topak. Um, so it's like this large fat body of water, and there's an island like right there in the London Bridge. They brought the London Bridge over from
Yes.
London. It was when Robert McCulloch came down here to start the town. He brought that as an attraction, and he had a jet at the time. This was back in the '60s. He would fly and pick people up from other states and bring them here. That's how he had to sell. He had to
I
sell
didn't
by picking them
know
up
it.
in a private jet. Um, so we were going after a 90-acre parcel, and it was state land. So we learned the whole state land process, which was you have to apply for state land, then you have to get all the environmental studies done, and then you have to get um, you have to get an appraisal done on the property, and you have to submit all of it to the state, and then the state will create an auction price off the appraisal, and then they announce it to the public through a bunch of news avenues, and um, and then they have a public auction on the courthouse steps. Here it's in Kingman, Arizona. That's where the county is. So in Mojave County, and we uh, we went to bid on that one, and we had raised $20 million for that one, and we lost. The CEO of CrowdStrike, the tech company, he was there, and we don't have what he has.
But
Yeah, so
that was a 90-acre parcel,
yeah, so we lost that one, and
and it,
the
and it
silver
and it
line,
was for 20. It went for 20 million plus. I mean, it went above.
24 million, I believe it went for.
Wow.
But the silver lining there was one, we didn't get emotional. We didn't get emotional at the auction,
Yep.
and our investors were with us. So it showed emotional regulation and it showed principle.
Yep.
Two, we learned the whole auction piece. And three, we created a relationship with the state land department.
Yeah.
And so there was another group of guys out here, other developers that did the same thing on 627 acres out here. I'm actually looking at it right now. Um, and so we didn't have to do all that work up front. They had already done it. And so we went to auction, and um, there was three of us there, and you come up, you show up with a check, and the check's like, I believe the check's like, so it was 3.4 million was the starting bid. We had to show up with a $567,000 check. And then you bid starting at 3.5 million, and there was three of us, and then you go about 100 to 200,000 at a time, and it was over. You spend 10 point, we spent 10.3 million on it in about 3 minutes. It's exhilarating. It's really fun. It's
But
it's
you'd done
cool
all
because
your had done all the homework up front. You knew what was going on. You
yeah,
know what you can do there about how many units you can do. You'd already done the math, right?
yeah,
Development is such a bunch of reverse math of whether you're like, what are the houses that are going to be built here? What can we afford to put the lot price in? All of that, and that was very intriguing about a lot of people. You got to be able to love that side, but that's what a lot of development is. So you've done that math. You're like, we can pay this much money, and that's where it is. And that's why the other deal went away. You're like, nope, someone else is overpaying. It does not work for us.
yeah. You're spot on, Jason. You know this already, but um, two things that are the most important things when doing a development. There's two things. Number one is your feasibility study. So your feasibility study is simply what he just said, reverse math. What is the land going to cost you? What is it going to cost to do horizontal? What is it going to cost to get it entitled? What is it going to cost in engineering? What is it going to cost in planning? What is it going to cost in infrastructure? What is it going to cost in curbs? What is it going to cost in asphalt? Like all of these things, what are all those costs? And I always recommend be liberal with those costs. Like I want you to go a little bit over. I want you to add at least a 10 to 15% contingency in there. And I want you to get multiple bids from people. We're in house. We do it all in house now. So we can move a little faster, but I want you to go get multiple bids from people to get a good idea of what these things are going to cost. And then I want you to be conservative on your sales price. So I don't want you thinking like best case scenario, like for
Right.
instance, our lots over at Ladera, we had them in there at 280. They sold for 400. So the pro forma said 280, the actual was 400. Like if it doesn't make sense conservatively, don't do the project.
Love it.
This is not a time or place where you want to overpromise and underdeliver. It's just
Absolutely.
not. Like if you do not want to sleep, like you talk about emotional fitness, psychological strength, you're dealing with other people's money. And most of the time you're dealing with other people's money who are very smart, very sophisticated, and they have teams of people, teams. Like my guy, his attorney is the ex SEC prosecuting attorney. So
Yeah.
like you have to be dialed. And
Yeah.
so no, that's number one is feasibility study. Make sure it's feasible. And then two is fundraising.
With if you have 2 more minutes, would love to
Yeah.
ask the question. So you have a realtors who are like, hey, I want to get into new construction. I want to start talking to builders. I want to understand the development process. Because really, it sounds as a lot of times builders need lots, right? And so, how do I partner those builders with developers, or how do I go find developers in my local area for them to bring land to the table that I can then bring a builder to, and I can be the listing agent? Obviously you started out with just a four lotter and you actually became the developer, but you don't have to be the developer, right? You can put some things together. What are some suggestions you would give to some people, to agents?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you're going to get, so if you're talking about if you just want to go find land and pitch this to builders,
Exactly.
okay. So that's like, this is what commercial agents do all the time. So if you, if you have like a good commercial agent, what they do is they have a piece of commercial land. And what they do is they get a plan together for that land. Like they get a plan, like this is where I got this idea is like they get a plan. So like, oh, we can build apartment buildings here. Okay, great. So they'll get like a preliminary plan or like bubble plan, or they'll do something of what you can do. They'll put like a dream together of what you could do on this piece of land. And they put together a pro forma. So like what the numbers are, what the costs are, what everything is going to be, so they can then sell the land. So for commercial agents, like if you're a high level commercial agent, you already get this.
Yeah.
You're doing this on a high level. This is what the firms do, commercial firms do all the time. But in residential, like this is much less rare. So if the land is already entitled, man, you go meet with an engineer, especially if you have the listing, you go, or if you want to go get the listing from them, you can pitch them that you'll go meet with an engineer. You can get a bubble plan. Bubble plan's pretty cheap. It's going to cost you, I don't know, 500 to $1,000. And you can get a bubble plan of like a layout of how many lots can fit here on average, how many lots can fit here. And what is a design that would work out? You're in real estate already, so you know what's going to work and not work. That's super powerful when doing these developments, making sure you're in the market, so you're getting what is needed, not what you think or what you want. You want to go off data. And so you can get a bubble plan put together, and then because here's what you have to do. I had to start to think like this. What do I need to provide? Who do I need to become? And what do I need to provide? What value do I need to provide to people who are wealthy, not rich, wealthy? They don't want flips.
Yep.
They want big deals, right? A builder, if I go sit with a builder, I go, hey, I've got this parcel over here. It's 150 acres. I talked to the landowner. I've went to the engineering. I've gotten bids on grading. I've gotten bids on infrastructure. I've gotten bids on these all bids. It's free to get bids,
Yep.
right? And I've talked to an engineer. Here's an idea of what we have, right? I wanted to get a moment to sit down with you and go over this with you.
Talk about value, right? That's what you're doing. You're bringing tremendous value to the table, silver platter. Here you go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
And one of the best values that you can do too, if you are, and a lot of states will do this, is like find land that's not entitled, put it in escrow, get a long due diligence period, and go see if you can go get it entitled. Because when you take unentitled land and you turn it into entitled land, you can like 3x that price. Now, what you can do is you can get a group of investors to buy the land, and then you can get another group of investors to buy it after it's entitled. You can do options on it. So there's lots of different things that you can do and values you can provide to builders, but we support a lot of developers and we support ourselves in it. It's providing value to them because builders want to build houses. Not There's not a whole lot of them that want to do land stuff. So
Yeah.
if you can give them entitled land with flat lots, they'll love you forever.
Yeah, exactly. Flat lots, lots of land. And guys, that's what we do, a ton of that, and that's part of this education process. And Dustin, dude, I know you're hopping on a plane. I
Yeah.
appreciate your time today and really just going over this. And there is so much, right? Just everything we covered. And while he said it is simple, there's a lot of steps to the simplicity and a lot of team members that you've brought together to be able to do that. But this is how you learn and this is how you get it. And this is not something that Dustin learned overnight. As I always say, I've been in this game, I'm a 24-year success, right? It took that long to really understand how we're doing it. And we're, killing it now. We're working with a handful of different builders and have sold over 1,500 houses. So that's the way you do it, is you do it
Wow.
one at a time, right? And you start figuring it out. And everything that Dustin said is exactly what we've done, and that's what we're continuing to try to teach. And so hopefully we'll get to have some more conversations with Dustin in the future. But buddy, I really appreciate you, and I'm going to see you in a couple weeks. And I
Yeah.
appreciate everything you're doing
And,
and taking the time today.
and if you have a team, this working, getting like your job, if you have a team, is to recruit and retain agents. If you have someone on your team that is recruiting and retaining agents, your job now is to find opportunities for your organization. And I can't think of a team that's more sticky than a team that is working with builders and working with developers and being able to give these opportunities to their organization. It makes your team so sticky. Um, and I just don't know why more team leaders don't do it. So
It's because they don't know it, and that's why we're trying to do this. Is
love
they
it.
literally don't know about it. So, dude, I appreciate you.
Cool.
Thank you
Appreciate you,
so
man.
much. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. See you.